With the recent release of Rocket League Sideswipe and Roller Champions on the way, this is going to be a big year for mobile sports games. Here are the top 10 mobile sports games of 2022. The first and best mobile sports game of 2022 is Rocket League Sideswipe. For the same reason Rocket League exploded 7 years ago, this game will do amazing this year. Psyonix has always prioritized the sport of their game above everything else, and it shows up in everything they do. Smooth gameplay with minimal to no lag, fairness integrated throughout the maps and power-ups, and one of the least aggressive monetization systems found in all of mobile gaming. Even though Psyonix hired a different dev team to make this mobile version of their game, they clearly oversaw that it would match the original game in both quality and the feel of the original title. I used to wonder if Psyonix's 7-year delay in making a mobile version would allow some of these mobile copycats to take the lead in the game type, but that is no longer a question that goes through my mind. The game is perfectly done, and it is my #1 recommendation for mobile sports games in 2022. The second game on the list is Roller Champions. Made by Ubisoft, this game is going to be new to all platforms, and I think it will perform best on the phone. The sport is a new concept to gaming in which your team needs to keep possession of the ball for a full loop before making an attempt at scoring. During this process, each player has to utilize pulling and gliding at the right times to gain speed using the masterfully crafted physics put into the game. Defenders can steal the ball or even just knock people down, while attackers can juke and eventually shoot the ball through the hoop. The game reminds me of the ancient Aztec game called Ulama, which is believed to be the oldest continuously played sport in the world. It is a beautiful and addicting concept, and I think the competitiveness of this game will capture our hearts today just as much as it did 3,000 years ago. The third game is NBA 2K22 Arcade Edition. Now, sports games can sometimes just update the rosters of their games, fix a few bugs, and then call it a new game with a new year number. And there isn't anything wrong with that. It's great that they're updating their games, but it doesn't make the new game special enough to mention. And while some of that is true with NBA 2K22 with no new game modes added this year, the gameplay of this game is much smoother and streamlined for the mobile platform. I'm not sure if they hired some new devs to work on it or if they just figured it out themselves, but what used to feel like a PC port on the phone now feels like truly a mobile game. So if you like playing basketball games and want to play on your phone, this is a very good year to get started. The fourth game on the list is PES Mobile 2022. Sadly, this game was postponed, originally being slated to release 2 months ago, but Konami deemed the game unready and is now scheduled for sometime around April of this year. And while this is sad because not being able to play a game obviously kills some of the hype for it, it is a testament to Konami that they are willing to postpone its release for the sake of quality, even though it will cost them a lot of money. PES Mobile is the biggest traditional sports game on the mobile platform, and it was listed as one of the main reasons the company made over $2 billion last year. So either the bugs were really bad or the devs are taking enough pride in their work to not be tempted to release it when it was scheduled to release. The game is bigger than FIFA Mobile because it has continued to deliver better gameplay, which to most people is the most important thing about a sports game. From previews, we can see that PES 2022 is going to have even better graphics and improved matchmaking for local and real-time online matches. As I mentioned in last year's video, I love how this game takes esports seriously, and I think it is one of the main reasons so many have been attracted to it. The fifth game is Hoop League's Tactics, which just came out and is really well done. The game is very unconventional for a sports game because it is turn-based, but in doing so, the devs were able to highlight the tactical side of sports, or at least basketball. I actually really like this. By eliminating the surprise of something like a pick and roll, it highlights the tactics of a pick and roll. Instead of the normal focus on athletics, players are confined to the physics of the court and positioning their players so that they can be the most effective. In this scenario, the strategic mind always wins because they are not thwarted by skill, the unseen, or the unexpected. So while I'm sure this game will not be for everyone, if you enjoy the strategy of sports, I would definitely recommend checking it out. The sixth game on the list is Racemaster 3D. This is obviously first a racing game, and it will also be on that video, but instead of putting a ton of their focus on good-looking cars and maps, the devs of this game seem to be focused on the sport of racing. The game has has over 33 unique levels with a huge range of surfaces and obstacles. The game also has a lot of good reviews, and the way that they implemented upgrading your car is very satisfying. Now, it doesn't have true multiplayer, and it has a lot of ads, so this is not my best recommendation, but it is a high quality new game, which is why it is on this list. The 7th game is Fi Swordplay. This game is not new, but it is truly amazing, and because of that, it still gets a bit of hype. Fi Swordplay has amazing game mechanics, but it is also strangely educational. All of the techniques used and the tournaments in the game are set up like actual professional fencing. So not only is the game fun, but you get to learn about actual fencing. And then once you get good at the mechanics in single player, you can advance to playing against other players online. So while this game probably won't be that game that you play for hundreds and hundreds of hours, I think this is the game that everyone should try because you will have a lot of fun for a few hours, and then when you quit, you will leave with a greater understanding of how fencing works. The 8th game on the list is Retro Bowl. This game is not as old as it looks, and it is fantastically done. My favorite thing about this game is that you actually have to aim your pass and time it with the runner while avoiding getting sacked, rather than the typical approach of having 4 buttons that correspond to different receivers on the field. And it's pretty fast paced too. So this little 8-bit game actually captures the feel of being a quarterback better than a lot of the best football games out there. The reason for this is because the game developers utilize the touchscreen of the phone to capture an element of being a quarterback that no console or PC game was able to do. I think this is absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we'll be seeing more game developers leaning into the strengths of the mobile phone so that we can find more things like this in other types of games. The 9th game is Mini Golf Battle Royale. I personally was not so sure about mini golf on the phone, but these devs did an incredible job with this game. If you like the Battle Royale style and also like physics types games, this is the best one out there. The game is legitimately competitive. There are so many maps with intriguing obstacles, and upgrading your gear is fun, but not such a big deal to make the game too pay to win. That being said, some people are so much better at this game than me that it makes me wonder if eventually you can memorize the maps to get a big advantage. The last game is Bowling Crew. This game is another physics-based game, and while less creativity can be afforded to bowling as can be mini golf, this game did a great job of capturing the challenge of bowling. More importantly, the game focuses around PvP, which both institutes the challenge of competition and the diversity of playing with someone new each match. Unfortunately, this game does give in to many of the more typical gacha techniques prevalent in mobile gaming when it comes to upgrading your gear. They're not so bad to ruin the fun of the game if you like this type of game. Okay, so those are the top 10 mobile sports games for 2022, but I do have 3 more honorable mentions for you. The first one is actually not one game, but rather a suggestion to go check out last year's top 10 video. Because a lot of sports games just update their rosters some years, there are a few games that weren't worth mentioning because they hadn't added anything new, but they're still some of the best sports games on the mobile platform. The second honorable mention is Viva La Football and Pitch Clash. These are 2 new mobile soccer games that hold a lot of promise and are getting some hype, but ultimately they just don't measure up to PES Mobile to make the list. The graphics are not as good, and many of the players are dissatisfied with the repetitiveness of the commentary. That being said, these games offer quite different physics from PES Mobile, which could cause some players to prefer them. The last honorable mention is Basket Trio. This game is not new and doesn't have nearly the graphics of NBA 2K22, but it hits a different niche that a lot of players like. I've noticed that this game continues to grow in popularity even though it is not made by a big game company, which is almost always a great sign in mobile gaming. Well, that's it guys, hope that helps. If a game is not on here that you think should be on here, it is probably because I put it in a different genre, like perhaps mobile games or something else. Many of those videos are already out and the rest will be coming very soon. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.